Hi, this is The Greatest Story Ever Played. I'm Dan.
I'm Jordan.
And today we're going to be talking about the Life is Strange 2 trailer and also the gameplay. So, I guess starting off, Episode 1, Life is Strange 2, is going to be coming out September 27th, so just over a month away.
Awesome.
Yeah,
so first we're going to talk about the Life is Strange 2 teaser trailer they released about a month ago. And in this, we don't see a whole lot of stuff, but we see like this police officer dash cam, and there's like this cop responding to a fight in some neighborhood, and we see in the dash cam video we see I guess the car gets like flipped randomly and a police officer goes flying. So it kind of makes you wonder, all right, is there some supernatural power here, whatever, and that's basically the teaser trailer itself.
Yeah. And then more recently, the actual trailer itself comes out. We see Sean and Daniel on the road, their two brothers, going on a journey somewhere. There's a voiceover of Sean saying, "I don't think Daniel knows what's going on. How am I supposed to take care of us out here?" And so they're alone on this journey, and he's feeling the tension. Then we see Sean pull out a newspaper clipping about this shooting that was in Seattle. And then it flashes over. Fast cut, we've got the police officer, presumably from our trailer, or from the teaser.
From the dash cam.
Yeah, from the dash cam, with his gun out. We see someone get punched. We see Sean picking up Daniel and running away. We see the police officer pull his gun out and shoot. Then we see the carnage from outside the dash cam instead, and the police car is flipped over. The officers sprawled out on the ground. Crazy. Then we go back to Daniel and Sean on the road. Daniel asks, "What are we going to do now?" And Sean says, "There's nothing we can't do as long as we're together." And then, credits, Life is Strange 2.
Yep. So it's very much similar feel of Life is Strange 1. You got Max and Chloe here, you got Sean and Daniel.
Right.
Great.
Yeah, very cool. We have one piece of feedback that we wanted to hit up from Alicia on Twitter. She says, "I haven't seen the gameplay. I only watched the initial minute-long trailer and was like, I'm good. I don't want to be spoiled for anything else. I can wait. The game comes out in less than 5 weeks from now. I've waited years, so I can wait a few more weeks."
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's totally fair. Totally get that. And maybe if we were podcasting on it, then maybe I would have waited too.
I probably would have too. It's like, that sounds kind of nice to have no idea what's going to happen and then just go into it blind.
Yeah, to go in blind and just, all right, I saw the trailer, it looks exciting, we'll find out. So, similar to Alicia choosing to not learn more, we're also saying this now. Spoilers are all ahead at this point. We're going to talk about gameplay and some interviews and blog posts and stuff like that from Life is Strange. So, this stuff definitely is spoilery to varying degrees, especially the gameplay.
Yep.
So, just a warning, if you want to go in blind, jump off now, and you'll hear us talk about it after it comes out.
Yep.
But, I guess with that, we'll go into this blog post by Life is Strange. I think it was on their Tumblr. And they had some different information, so just some good confirmation. So, one thing in here is the main characters of Life is Strange 2 are brothers. Sean, who's 16, and Daniel Diaz, who's 9. The two brothers are living a fairly normal life in Seattle, Washington State. Following a tragic event, their lives are changed forever. Now on the run from the police and threatened with separation and incarceration, Sean decides to take his younger brother and seek a better life in their family's hometown of Puerto Lobos, Mexico.
And also, Jonathan Morali, the French composer who worked with the team on the first game, is also composing a new original soundtrack for Life is Strange 2, which will be supported by a brand new licensed soundtrack. So that's great news, too. The soundtrack in the first game was great.
Yeah.
They're bringing back the same guy with some all-new stuff. That's baller.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's so good. Hearing that, and then, again, hearing that there's a journey, basically. That sounds great.
Yep.
So, okay, gameplay video starts, and we've got Sean getting off the school bus. He starts talking to his friend, who we learn is Lila, as he's getting off. This is great because, again, it has the same Life is Strange music going. Listomania by Phoenix is playing. It's awesome.
Yeah, it felt so much like the first game.
Yeah.
It's like all the feels got brought back. Even the scenery looked really good, just like original Life is Strange.
Yeah, they totally started you off right in this trailer. All right, I'm in. Or gameplay, I guess. But I assume that this is the very beginning of how the game starts.
Yeah,
too.
I assume it's like the intro into the first chapter.
Right.
And the credits would probably roll after this. the end of this gameplay we saw.
Yeah, that's my guess too. So that's pretty cool. Sean and Lila, his friend, they're walking home and they're talking about a party that's coming up that night. And there's a girl named Jen who Sean wants to talk to, but is nervous too. And so Lila's giving him game tips, basically. And this is pretty funny, and it seems like they've been friends a long time. Mm-hmm. It was nice.
It's nice too because throughout this whole like intro part, we'll talk about is they really paint this normal teenage lifestyle. Like they're just in high school, they're going to parties, they're like he's trying to like flirt with his crush, whatever. And it's just super normal. And then we'll talk about things just change.
Right. Yeah, totally. After this, Sean goes home and he goes and finds his dad to talk to him, who's working on his car, and they interact a little bit. And again, like a lot of Life is Strange, he's a nice parent.
He's great. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's good. He's a really good guy. Sean ends up asking money for the party, and you end up seeing your first kind of decision come up here, which is that you can tell him a lie and say that it's not for booze and weed, or you can say, yeah, it might be.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. And so in the gameplay, they say yes, and his dad is glad that Sean would tell the truth, and he gives him money for it.
Yeah.
Which was cool. It definitely flipped the what you expected on its head, too.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I was like, you should lie, right?
Yeah. Well, honesty paid off.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. And even, again, showing what kind of guy his dad is. Like
he seems like a pretty good dude.
Yeah. See, and he's like working on a car that he's giving to Sean once he graduates high school or something like that. Like, it's like he's a nice guy.
Yeah, seemed great.
Yeah. After this, Sean's going around the house grabbing food for the party. So you see him opening up cabinets and the refrigerator and stuff, and you can choose to grab different items. Some of it is funny in here is you see beans in the cabinet, so Frank's bean.
Oh, yeah.
Like Frank. So
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I liked that. So they're grabbing food, and he's throwing it in his backpack. After this, he goes and knocks on Daniel's door. Daniel's all secretive because he's working on his secret Halloween costume, and so you can't know about it.
Yeah, for like 3 days.
For 3 days. Daniel's like, ooh, is Jen going to be at the party? And you get a little bit of that. A little bit of annoying brother, and they don't quite get along, but they sort of do.
Yeah.
I guess probably how you would with your sibling if you're that far apart.
Yeah, 7 years. Yeah. Yep.
You got that. After this, Sean goes into his room to Skype with Lila and turns on music again. And it was, again, fitting with the Life is Strange music. This instead was this English rap group called The Streets. I'd never heard of them, but I went and looked up the song.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'd never heard of them either.
It was cool. I liked it. And so he's doing that, and then he's talking with Lila. She ends up saying that Jen dyed her hair, and get on Facebook and look at this picture.
Yeah.
And then you can, like, heart her picture or something or not.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, in the gameplay, he didn't do anything, which is probably what I would have done, too.
Yeah, I was like, me and Sean are playing it cool.
Yeah, and not trying to go too far.
Yeah. So there was that. Daniel then comes and interrupts their Skype conversation in his zombie costume.
Yeah, so 3-day window went out the window.
Yeah.
More like 30 seconds.
Right. And interrupts and is trying to, like, show Lila, it seemed like. And
because he's, like, kind of into Lila.
It
like
seemed,
a little crush, but he's, like, 9, so.
Right.
Never happened.
Yeah. And so Sean's mad, though, and, like, forces him out. But Lila was kind of like, you don't need to be mean to him. Kind of thing. After this, he continues to talk with Lila a little bit, but then you hear commotion from outside. It sounds like arguing. Like, you can hear a couple phrases here and there, but not like enough to know what's going on.
Yeah.
But you leave because there is commotion. You're like, all right, sorry, Lila, I gotta go. I gotta see what's going on. You come out, and there's Brett, who's a neighborhood kid who seems like he's about the same age as Sean.
Yeah, probably.
I would think.
High school age.
Yeah, it seemed like they would probably go to the same high school. And he's grabbing Daniel by the arm. There's fake blood that's all over Brett's white t-shirt. So he's mad and more confrontive than you should be.
Yeah, being really aggressive.
Yeah, he's being pretty aggressive.
Kid's
He's like
9.
grabbing his arm, calling him like a retard and a pussy and stuff like that. Like, it's like, God, this guy's a prick.
Yep.
And so then this is the first real choice that comes up. Earlier it was dialogue choice as to how to go. This one is your first kind of real choice, and your options are either to question Daniel or confront Brett. And something that's kind of cool is it goes split screen for your choice, and whichever choice you're choosing is color, and the other one was black and white. So it looks cool. It was like a cool change from the other way the games have made your choices.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was cool looking. In the gameplay, they opt to question Daniel. Daniel says that he was pretending to be a zombie. He
Yeah.
forgot.
Yeah.
And so then he did something dumb.
Yeah.
And so you're, of course, upset with Daniel. You're like, come on, let's go back. Whatever. Mm-hmm. But, of course, Brett continues to antagonize. He's like, calls him pussy again. Like,
Yeah.
oh, go see your dad, pussy.
Yeah.
And then he says, that's why your mom left.
Yeah.
Sean's not having it.
No, he's pretty pissed.
Yeah, so Sean goes up and just punches Brett in the face,
Mm-hmm.
as we all would and should probably at
Yeah.
that point.
His ass.
Yeah, Sean beats his ass. Brett, like, maybe gets a swing in or something, but doesn't really get...
Yeah.
He, like, tries to tackle him, but he doesn't.
Yeah, and then Sean just punches him a bunch. In,
Yeah,
like
Sean-
kidney or something.
Sean punches him a bunch, keeps punching him. Then he ends up punching Brett in the face, and Brett falls backwards onto a rock
Yeah,
that's on the ground.
His, like, spine area hits, like, a rock.
Yeah, that's up out of the ground.
Yeah.
And they realize, oh shit, this isn't good, because Brett's like, sounds like he's breathing kind of badly,
Yeah.
and like twitchy a little. Like it seems pretty
Yeah,
bad.
he's like, and they might have broken his spine, something like that.
Yeah, it seems pretty bad. Of course, the police officer shows up right at this point and gets out of his car, and he's like, "What's going on?" or something like that. And then he looks and he sees Brett twitching on the ground with fake blood all over his chest.
Yeah.
He pulls his gun, freaks out, and he also sees the fake blood that's on Daniel, and not on Sean. Sean doesn't have any, but
Yeah.
Daniel does. Daniel does from his costume, and then Brett does. So he's like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Police officer freaks out, pulls out his gun, and tells them to get on the ground. They get on the ground. At this point, Mr. Diaz sees what's going on and runs out and tries to intervene as to what's going on, but the police officer keeps freaking out.
Yeah, and at this point, I feel like Mr. Diaz should have just stopped. Like, if a dude's got his gun out and he's, like, already kind of on edge, I mean, he did nothing wrong necessarily, actually at all.
Yeah.
But at that point, I'd be like, all right, we'll let this clear itself out.
Right. Well, and, like, there's a point where you can either just obey the officer or try to explain. And they try to explain, but they don't do a good job at it, which
No.
makes sense. You're kids and you're freaked out, and someone's pointing a gun at you, let alone a police officer like this, So they try to explain, nothing happens, and Mr. Diaz is kind of like, As he tries to de-escalate it, the police officer freaks out, and he shoots Mr. Diaz in the chest.
Yeah. Probably killing him.
Yeah, seemingly killing him. At this point, Daniel screams. We see the police officer fly backwards. And it's like black for a second. And Sean gets up and he looks around.
Yeah, it's just carnage.
Carnage.
Yeah.
The police car's flipped over. The police officers have clearly been thrown. Brett's still laying there looking way more dead. For sure.
Yeah.
Like electric light poles are like down. The police officer's car is on fire. Like it's a fucking wreck.
Yep.
Sean runs over to his dad, and he sees that his dad is also dead. And so then he hears police sirens coming, and so he grabs Daniel, and then grabs his backpack, and then carries them off, and you see them escape, I guess, to the right of the house, and then from the other side, the police cars are coming down into the wreckage, so no one saw them get away.
Yep.
Then Life is Strange 2.
Yep. Crazy intro.
Yeah, what a bit of gameplay. Like, if that's our before the first song, like intro song to episode 1, Life is Strange 2, like if this is all in there, oh man.
I assume it probably is.
Yeah, I guess so, because I bet that the beginning of the first game could be that long before you go to the bathroom, right?
Yeah, I think it is.
Because you're in class and Nightmare of the Storm and stuff like that, so it probably could fit. Which is nuts, because the other one, the first episode started with song walking in the school, right?
Yeah, and then I think it ends with like saving Chloe.
Right.
Right?
I think so.
Yeah.
So
then it ends after that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, what a... that's pretty wild. That could be what we're getting. So, that's gameplay. Last, we had some quotes from an article called Why Life is Strange 2 is Ditching Arcadia Bay for Its Radically Different Road Trip by Aoife Wilson. And in her article, she actually interviews Michael Koch, who's one of the co-directors, lead directors for Life is Strange 2, and he was for Life is Strange 1. And so he's got some pretty good points or just interesting thoughts regarding the game and what have. So, first question's in here, and we've got kind of two longer quotes, so I guess we'll go back and forth on them. But the question in it is the studio, were they worried about not having a single main location or town to anchor the players to build in a sense of time and place?
His response was, it was a big change and a challenge. Co-director Michael Koch told us, it's a road movie structure where you're always on the move. You'll see over the course of the season, but you'll have to leave things behind to move forward. The anchor of the game is really Sean and Daniel. They are the main characters, but like in road trip movies, when you meet a lot of different people, you give them something, they give you something, and they leave part of themselves with you when you move on. What road trip movies were the teams inspired by? Stand By Me was a good one, but I was going to say Into the Wild. Koch says, in books, something like Of Men and Mice, but of course, we always do a lot of research. We did a lot of traveling along the West Coast and tried to meet a lot of people on the fringe parts of society to try to see how it is and try and not be cliche.
I like the couple things they just bring up here with the Stand By Me, but then Into the Wild and Of Mice and Men. Like, those are all really good story journeys. Like, to have those be inspirations, they're all awesome.
Yeah, and I think I'm pretty excited to see how it's going to be different, like with building meaningful relationships in the world and crafting interesting dialogue with people you barely know.
Right.
I think I'm interested to see how they do that in this game too.
Yeah.
With not having like the central anchor like they're talking about.
Right. And just how much it will shift. I guess there'll probably have to be time jumps because I saw someone put like Google mapped from Seattle to like Pueblo, Mexico.
Yeah.
It's really fucking far.
Bet.
Like it'd probably take months to walk down there if you're just walking. Like,
yeah, and I bet they'll get stopped at random points and like stay certain places for longer.
Right.
So it could take them like, we have no idea, but like, it could be like a year or something. Who knows?
Right. It could be really long, and all the people you could meet along the way. Or I guess time jumps probably between episodes too. Like within the episode, you could probably have that.
Well, yeah.
That would make sense if it was like, whatever date, move it along. That could even happen, which is kind of cool. Another thing they said is really early we thought we had the friendship/relationship with Max and Chloe, but what if you had to look after another character? The main theme of the game is education. Sean is young, 16, but he grows up too fast because of what happens. He now has to take care of his brother, Daniel, who's 9. Not really a child anymore, but definitely not a teenager. Somewhere in between. Where you are getting a lot from around you, but starting to develop your own personality. It was the perfect age for us to really have to reflect on your decisions, to have this little kid always with you, always looking at you, taking examples from you, and over the course of the game starting to mimic the things you do or develop his own personality based on what you've told him.
Yeah, it seems super interesting. It almost kind of reminds me of when we're playing through The Walking Dead, the final season. We are kind of like Clementine's responsible for teaching AJ things. It kind of sounds like that.
Yeah.
A little bit. And it sounds way harder than just Max and Chloe where they were just kind of equals and friends. Here you're like basically raising this kid and trying to be his friend.
Right.
And like do the right thing. So it sounds really difficult and complicated.
And the whole like, you're not my parent, but you kind of have to be. Like the tension that could be there.
Yeah.
And that seemingly he has the superpowers. So also you're going to have to help as a non-superpower person, your brother who's younger than you with his superpowers. Like, like how to use them for good or not for evil or whatever, or use them for evil, I guess, if that's what you decide to be into. But like how that could go, it's a pretty interesting possibility.
Yeah, very complex relationship. Next question here is, you can tell the development of Life is Strange 2 was quite a challenge for the team, and that they feel the weight of fan anticipation this time around. And this guy's response, Michael Koch, is, we knew the story of Max and Chloe was told in those two endings. While open-ended, we wanted players to imagine what happened next on their own, and for this to be over for us as storytellers. So, what is a Life is Strange game? It's having a set of relatable characters facing real-life issues in a world which is as close as possible to the real world, just with a twist of some supernatural elements that we can use to emphasize some story aspects. Like with the Rewind, it was to emphasize Max's inability to make decisions and inability to go forward with her life.
Yeah. What I like about this is, I guess, two things. Again, just reasserting that Max and Chloe, they're done with that, which makes sense. They've said that forever. I've seen a lot of people online who are mad about that, but they've been saying it forever. So, again, just hearing it again, like, nah, they're done. Their story is told.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's probably a good thing, even, because having an ending like that, you can't say, never mind, this one's the real one.
Yeah, that would be hard.
That seems shitty to 50% of the people.
Yeah, it just ruins the open-endedness of it.
Right.
I mean, granted, I'm like, I would love to play another game with Max and Chloe. Like,
Right.
I would, if they did that, hell yeah, I'd play it and be excited about it. But I also totally get moving on from that and telling a different story in a totally different way.
Right.
This game sounds like it's going to be awesome. Like, I wonder, I'm nowhere near saying it could ever be better than the first game, but it could be on par, and like maybe then would be at the spot where like, man, we want more Sean and Daniel in the next game, and then be like, nah, sorry.
Right.
New story.
No, yeah. And two, what he said, what is Life is Strange? It's the relatable characters facing real life issues in a world that's close to ours, but there's a supernatural twist. It's like, that's great. And then also really, he didn't say it, but also like the music, that's definitely a big part of it. And those sorts of things, it's like, those things thrown together, to me, that's way more Life is Strange than anything else. The characters, of course, love them and everything, but like, I don't know, that's what these games are at the end of the day. And I hope that this game is at least close to good as the original, if not the same or whatever, and that we're like, they're both great.
Yeah. And
I hope it's like that.
Yeah, and I think one of the cool things, too, is, like, there's a lot of hardship in these games, too. A lot of emotion invoked with lots of different things, and we see they're not going to move away from that at all. Like, the first 15 minutes of the game, your freaking dad dies.
Right.
You, like, have to run from the cops. You go from being a normal high schooler and, like, a normal 9-year-old kid to, like, running to Mexico and having no idea what you're doing. Like, that's a huge contrast, which is kind of Life is Strange, the first one as well. Like, you go from just being Max, who's really awkward, to, like, having time travel powers and, like, saving a whole town or not. Like, it's very clear they're going to make this game. There's going to be a lot of hard decisions, a lot of difficult things, and I think that's also what Life is Strange is about, too.
Yeah.
The consequences.
Right, yeah, I think so. And so, I don't know. I'm excited. I feel like with just what we've seen with trailer and gameplay, and then him saying this, it's like, you're doing what you said. Like,
yeah.
It already feels that way. And, like, I don't know. I trust it will unfold that way, too. With what they've shown us already, and that's the beginning of the game, I can only imagine it'll keep upping the ante.
I would assume so.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess on to some general thoughts. For me, I was, of course, excited about Life is Strange 2 once I knew about it. But after seeing this and stuff, I'm super hype about it. I'm pumped. I placed my pre-order yesterday.
Nice.
Like, I'm in. I want it. Take my money.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel the exact same way. I'm super hyped to play this game. I think there's some kind of... I think I was kind of not as excited about it because, I hadn't seen much about it, hadn't heard. I mean, we had played Life is Strange recently, but, there's other video games I've been playing between that and this game. So I was kind of like, we'll see how it is. But after seeing this, I'm like, all right, yeah. I'm right back in the middle, really excited about it.
Yeah.
So stoked to play it.
Yeah, really, really excited. Yeah, something, I guess, I went back and kind of looked at some Captain Spirit related things to this, since they kind of gave that as really almost their preview before this.
Yeah.
In a sense. So the gameplay in Life is Strange 2, this is happening right before Halloween. We know that with the costume stuff and what have. Captain Spirit, though, is right before Christmas. Find out that with the presents being found, like he finds the present.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And I went back into this because I remember there was a newspaper thing in Captain Spirit, so I went back and played for a second to find it. There's a newspaper in Captain Spirit where it says, local police face more protest in shooting death. And then inside it, there's some notes that says, unexplained death of local man and an officer. Local man appears to have been shot by officer. While the latter's death cause remains unknown, there's no official statement from the police, but people have been protesting the police because they haven't provided an answer for this situation. So that's kind of cool as we saw that experience now, what it's referring to.
Yeah.
Because I remember reading the paper and I was like, man, that's crazy that they're like, again, like the first game, but hitting up some real social issues going on. Because reading it at first, it's like, okay, the police officer shoots a random guy. Like, what?
Seems bad.
Yeah, and it still is bad, but now it's like, okay, we've got that Life is Strange twist on it too. But I don't know. That was cool. So I like that. And so with that the boys are at the end of Captain Spirit. And Captain Spirit is set somewhere in Oregon near Arcadia Bay. It's not in Arcadia Bay, but I think it's an hour or two from there. So seemingly in a month they've traveled roughly that far.
Yeah.
And they're staying with that lady who's not their parent, obviously.
Yeah.
So I don't know who she is. But this makes me think that they're going to show up in maybe like episode 1. Or maybe the end of episode, or end of episode 1, beginning of episode 2.
Yeah, that seems right.
Just because it doesn't seem like it could be a lot later. Like,
yeah, no.
Otherwise, their journey's not going to happen at all. Like,
yeah, if they only made it that far, and by the end of episode 4, it's like, or episode 3 even, you're not going to make it to Mexico. Sorry.
Right, unless they just make like a huge jump and you like miss a bunch. But
which would be kind of weird.
Yeah, it would seem strange. So I'm thinking I wonder if we're going to run into Chris.
Oh yeah,
episode 1, probably.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good connection there. Yeah, I guess that answers our question too when we did Adventures of Captain Spirit. Chris is definitely a side character and he does not have powers.
Yeah.
Maybe he does. I doubt it, but
yeah, it seems like Daniel must have saved him.
Probably Daniel. Yeah. Yep. So that answers that question.
Well, and I guess that he maybe knows a little more how to use his powers. So if they got brought about by this police incident. And that was the initial freak out, and it was from a bad experience, just like with Max finding out her powers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again.
Trauma again.
But then it seems that he's figured out at least a little how to use them because he helped save this kid.
Very true.
I hope we get to see Daniel and Chris play together.
I bet we will.
That would be nice, just because they seem like they could get along, and both those kids kind of have sad stories going on. So it'd be nice if they could have something nice happen.
Yeah, I forgot how sad Chris's life is sad. Yeah, they both have sad lives.
Yeah, so hopefully there's like even if they give us just like a 2-minute video of them having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thought I had too is like I love the idea of them going like a road trip. Like I love those kind of movies. The ones they mentioned here.
Right.
Yeah, it's like just seeing all the different scenery, all the different people they're gonna meet. I'm excited about that, and it's gonna be so different from the small town Arcadia Bay. You kind of know all the people there that at least you interact with, and it's just gonna be so different. So I guess I kind of wonder on how this will affect having meaningful side characters aside from Chris, or I assume he's going to be a relatively major side character just because he's in the prequel or the preview, whatever. But yeah, I wonder how that's going to affect developing relationships and like making decisions difficult because you don't really know anyone. Like let's say you have to like telekinesis someone and kill them. That'd be a lot easier to do if you don't know the person,
right?
As opposed to like 3 chapters in, you're like, oh, this is my guy, but I have to do this thing. It's just it's just different. So I wonder if you have thoughts on that or have similar feelings.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because I wonder if many characters will be able to last more than an episode at a time. Maybe
I would assume they won't.
Like, I'm thinking that maybe we'll get like maybe Sean will be able to text Lila like once or something like that. That'd be kind of fun if she was his friend from afar, and so he messages her here and there, but he can't keep contact, but she like gives him info.
Yeah,
that could be kind of cool, like to keep, because that relationship seemed cool. It'd be cool if they could stay in contact.
Yeah,
or I guess even he could maybe try to, and then she'll shut him down because of what's going on.
Yeah, because she
which
thinks
would make you sad too.
Yeah,
yeah. So, but yeah, I wonder if it'll be like they'll just kind of pass through. I know in the Into the Wild movie, that one, it was like a lot of the characters were just at a time and place when he traveled through their area, and sometimes he did see him again later down the line, but some of them it was just kind of that one instance. And
yeah, so I wonder how they're going to do that well. I'm sure they will, but they'll probably have to change some dynamic of character development, dialogue to make it more, I don't know, impactful with the shorter window they have, like with interaction with certain characters.
Yeah. I think one decision that will definitely come up is that there's going to be an opportunity to steal or not, and you're going to have to decide.
Yeah, probably.
That seems like because that's like a basic tenet for Daniel to learn, like right and wrong.
Yeah.
And so, is it right to steal in these situations or not? Like, because it seems like too they're just going to have a backpack of Sean's party supplies.
Yeah, right now he has beer, chips, and $40.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's what you got. So it's like, all right, like how are you going to deal with that and find nice people? But like you probably you can't keep your phones on because then they could track them.
Yeah,
stuff like that. So it's like he's gonna have to
figure something out.
I don't know.
So it sounds like a lot of the dialogue and relationship will be with Sean and Daniel, which makes sense and could make whatever happens harder.
Yeah, I think so. I guess this is kind of a ending type scenario, but I'm thinking it won't end well for one of the brothers. Just I don't know, if Life is Strange is gonna Life is Strange, it seems like it'll have to be bad for someone that we care about. And so since these are the two people we'll be caring about, I would think it will have to be something like that. I have a speculation, but first I have a question. So do you think they're going to put us in another choice type scenario? Like in the last game where obviously there was the two choices and that was your ending.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll do that again?
Yes. Probably. I think that's such... It's just it almost like puts a cap on however you play the story. So I think they don't have to do that, but I think it just makes it a lot more like intense and like everything you did leading up to that point way more important.
Right. Because
if it just kind of ends and it ends however they determined, it's not as open-ended as it could be. Because like think about in Life is Strange 1 or even like combining Before the Storm in there too, it made saving Chloe way more like you just have to do that.
Right.
So I wonder, because so I feel like it would almost kind of invalidate smaller decisions you made along the way if there's not some choice to like, I don't know, save Daniel or not, whatever it is.
Right.
So I feel like they definitely will do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty stuck on that hill. I'll die there.
I think they will too. I would be okay if they don't. Like, I'm totally interested in like if they have a tragic journey and then something bad happens and then one of them gets to walk in alone. And that's how they go. Yeah. I'm okay with that. Like if that's how they decide to make it, but I kind of wonder if they'll make us choose too. And my scenario is this. Here's what I think is going to happen. Yeah. Is that it's going to be when they're getting close to the border and they're going to be split up for some reason. And as Sean, you're going to see the police or border patrol or whomever go converging on where Daniel is. And then you can either make a commotion to have them come to you so he can get away, or you let him get caught and you sneak off. And so it doesn't have death like in the other one. So no one will die. But only one of you is getting home.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think, and I feel like I would feel really sad watching him get taken away by not doing anything.
Yeah.
Or if you have to do something and he sees you get...
Yeah, and then Daniel knows he's by himself.
Yeah.
Because they for sure have family down there, but they don't know any of them. They've never been to Mexico.
Right, yeah.
I don't even know how Daniel, a 9-year-old kid, would find his way through Mexico, let alone... He doesn't know Spanish or anything. I assume. At least.
As far as we can tell, it seems like they've been just raised in Seattle. So
yeah, that could be an interesting scenario.
So that's kind of what I'm going with, and I kind of hope I'm not right, just because I don't want to have predicted their game. But if they do, I mean, I feel kind of sad thinking about it now, and I don't know these characters, so that's a pretty good job.
I bet it will be different than that.
Yeah,
I don't know why. It just seems like it'll be more.
I guess if I can telegraph it, I'm not a game writer, so like if I can guess that before I've ever played, that's probably...
Especially with a game that's this good, or Life is Strange, that, like, there's no way, I mean, someone maybe out there predicted that's how the game would end, with Max having to choose Chloe or the town. I'd be surprised. But I bet they'll do something kind of out there where, like, everything comes to a point and it's like, make your choice, which I guess yours would fit into that, but... It seems too straightforward. Yeah,
well, especially for before anything's come out. Because I'm sure people could predict the end of... Maybe, I mean, depending who they are, like, predict the end of Life is Strange Episode 5 while they after they played Episode 4 or something.
For sure, yeah.
Like, you can maybe see it a little more there, but at the beginning, before Episode 1 comes out, like, probably not. Yeah. Like, that seems crazy.
Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah, yeah, that shit.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. thinking something like that, though, that could be interesting if they keep the choice. But in that same scenario, though, I would be totally okay if they just chose one and that's what happens. So, like, the video is you're there and it's like you have to press a button and you have to do it, and you call the police over and you see Daniel get away, but you get arrested. Like,
Yeah.
you could end it in a way like that, and you're like, man, that was fucking good. I feel really bad.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be heart-wrenching, whatever it is.
Yeah. I fully believe whatever they do will probably make me feel similarly bad as the end of the first game.
Yep, I bet. I guess my last thought on this is, so let's assume Daniel is the one with powers. I think it is most likely. It'll be weird to play as a character without powers, especially like you've said already. He's your younger brother. You're supposed to be taking care of him, yet he could do crazy stuff with telekinesis or whatever his power is.
Right.
So and I'm not really sure how I feel about that right now. Based on what I've seen so far, the gameplay looks awesome, but going forward, like being the character without the superpowers, I don't know if I'll enjoy that as much as I did with Max's time travel power, rewind power, whatever.
Right.
What do you think about that?
I guess probably part of to make that mechanic good is it's going to have to not feel like you're just doing it. So you can't, like, if it feels like you just have to say, Daniel, do this, and he does it,
Yeah.
then it'll be the same as you having it.
Mhm.
So instead, maybe, like, I don't know if they would do something like this, but what if you have a relationship meter with Daniel, and so his responsiveness to you, so if you're an asshole to him, he won't listen to you and use his telekinesis when you need him to, or that could be kind of interesting. But then also, like, if you felt like you were manipulating him, it could go down too. So, like, you having to be...
Yeah.
That could be kind of interesting, because then that could make the power less predictable.
Yeah, I just don't know how this would play out. Like, I don't know how the power would be, like, a meaningful part of the story if you're not actually in control of it.
Yeah.
Because, I don't even know what scenarios you'd use it in. With Max's rewind power, like, very obviously there's a fuck ton of reasons to use it in necessary times,
Right.
which made it really cool. But in this game, I don't know how they're going to use it. And yeah, like you said, maybe you tell Sean to do certain stuff or tell Daniel to do certain stuff, and he does it. But yeah, I just don't know how they'll do that well. I trust that they will, but I don't understand. It'll just be weird what scenarios would come up that you'll need the power, and then how will you do it if you're not doing it,
Right.
So yeah, I'm slightly concerned about that.
Yeah. I think it will work better than playing Before the Storm with Chloe's, like, backtalk superpower,
Yeah.
quote unquote.
Yeah.
I think it'll work better than that, because that felt sort of weird because you were used to being in Arcadia Bay with superpowers, and then you didn't have them. But then it was kind of weird because they're like, okay, well, can we come up with a gameplay element that's sort of fun like this? And
Yeah.
I mean, it was
challenge.
and it was okay, but yeah, I wonder if this will be. Yeah, if they don't do it well, then that could hurt.
Yeah.
Because then it could make some of the things seem a little silly that you end up doing. But if they do it well, and it's then it could probably be pretty cool
Yeah.
and work out all right. But
It could be less a part of the story this time around too. I guess I kind of assume it will be, just because you're not controlling it necessarily.
Yeah.
Probably not controlling it, and it's not like rewind power, which had a lot of implications
Right.
with dialogue-based, relationship-based game.
right,
So yeah, I guess we'll see.
yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited though. For
Oh, yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. I guess some listener feedback to kind of head there. So we got Nikki on Twitter. She said the trailer left me with kind of a meh, shoulder shrug feeling, but the gameplay video had me hyped. After the gameplay vid, rewatching the trailer made me emotional. She was excited about it at that point.
We got Majorly on Twitter said, I'm interested in the game. Hopefully it will be a touching story. Yep, I'm
Yeah.
sure it will be.
Yeah. The Save Room on Twitter always thought the series would lend itself to an anthology storytelling. Max and Chloe's arc felt like, and should be, a closed loop. Incredibly down for a new narrative.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I don't know. I've been reading a lot of Life is Strange fan fiction recently, and that's been great. And it's fun getting to continue their stories there, and the comic coming out in a couple months or whatever. So it's like, I think that we'll still get Max and Chloe, but for the video game, that's okay.
Yeah.
To not, I'm all right with that. There is a theory that Chris on Twitter writes in about. He's written in about several different times, but he thinks that Life is Strange, the universe, could end up being kind of like the Avengers ultimately, where you bring together your magical or supernatural magical creatures and where to find them.
Creatures.
Yeah, your fantasy people. No, all your supernatural characters in for some final thing, which that could be cool. I don't know if it will happen. Like that seems wild, but it could be interesting, and it would be kind of a fun way to, okay, we're getting Daniel back and we got Max back, and I don't know if you did it, if they chose to do it, I'm sure they could do it right.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
it'd be hard, but they have a great track record so far. So
right, yeah, I believe at this point. And so if, like, you know, in 2 years Life is Strange 3 comes out and it's another scenario where it's some random things like this and there's some supernatural element and trauma and so forth. If Life is Strange 4 is coming out and then as it's leading up, they just start showing you highlights from the other 3 and then you're like, wait, what? And then it's like, worlds converge. Something like that, like, holy shit, I'm in.
Do you think that we'll see Max at all in this game? Like, even, like, randomly, like when we're in Oregon, kind of by Arcadia Bay?
I don't think we will.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say we might hear that Arcadia Bay was destroyed a few years ago, but that would decide a thing. So
yeah,
I guess
and then if you
wouldn't.
saw Max and Chloe together, that would also decide the thing.
Yeah,
if
so
you
I
saw
don't...
Max by herself, or even some, like, newspaper clipping about, like, the Blackwell Academy and, like, Max being, like, some good art student, like, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Or if they'll have any, like, Easter eggs in there about her. Or Chloe, even.
Yeah, I don't think they will. Because I think it would... Because this game is set after that, so I feel like you could just have Max around.
Yeah.
And not choose any canon if she's just around. But it seems like it would be hard to do it.
Yeah.
Something... spoiler alert for Walking Dead Season 3 of the Telltale game.
Yeah.
Real quick. I would be kind of worried if they did it in a shitty way where the character dies anyway. Like at the end of Season 2 of Walking Dead, the characters that you had opportunities with, once Season 3 starts, they're dead anyway.
Yep.
And so you're still left where you are. And so I would be kind of concerned about that, is that, okay, well, either way, Arcadia Bay doesn't exist, and neither does Chloe.
Yeah, that would be awful. I could never see them doing that.
Right, I wouldn't think so,
Yeah.
and especially after Telltale fucked that up.
Yeah.
But that would be pretty discouraging. And so that's why part of me is like, if they never bring them up again, I'm okay with it. Because what I don't want is that you sacrifice Arcadia Bay, but then like a year later, Chloe dies in a car crash, and so then it's just Max.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, or if you did the Chloe route, but then Max, then a hurricane like gets Arcadia Bay later anyway, or a house fire, or the town catches on fire, or something stupid, and it's like, well, they're both gone anyway. Like it just nullifies it because that's like a huge misstep that Telltale did.
Yeah, which I don't think they would do that. I think it's way more likely we will never see Max and Chloe in a game.
Yeah.
But it like could fit canon and almost loosely make sense to see just Max when they're in Oregon around Chris, because it's, I don't know how close it is, but probably reasonably close.
No, right. You could definitely have like a college student Max, which that could be interesting. There could be a reason that Chloe could not be around and Max is at college somewhere, and then somehow see him. Like,
yeah. How far after does this game take place?
I think it's 3 years.
Oh, okay. Then we probably wouldn't see them. I doubt they'd still be in Oregon. Or, sorry, that's my...
Well,
I thought Max would be there.
They wouldn't be in Arcadia Bay.
Yeah.
But they could be at, like, University of Oregon or something. Like, I could see that. Or, if there's some other art school on the West Coast. And because that could be something. What if she's in an art school in California and you see her walking by on the street? So, like, there could be ways to put her in.
It'd be really random. I would almost like that if you just see Max driving by or something. Like, oh, that was
that would
Max.
be something if you're walking through a college and you see an older Max walking by.
But no, I don't want, like, I don't even want meaningful dialogue. I just want, like...
Just see her.
Like, just to even see, like, oh, that's a little Easter egg there. Or, like, a newspaper about her, or...
Right.
Something.
Max Caulfield, art show, whatever.
It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I would
they've been known to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hot Dog Man's and everything.
Yeah, Hot Dog Man is up everywhere.
Yeah, Frank's Beans. Like,
yeah, Frank's Beans.
Yeah, so there's stuff like that. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, so I guess that... I don't know. It's hard because of... how extreme the endings are, because it's not like you could even have like Warren show up or something.
Yeah, he couldn't. Yeah.
Because he probably is dead or should be in one ending.
Yeah.
You know, like that kind of thing. So it's kind of hard. They box themselves in, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could see Max's parents because you've never really seen them.
Because they live in Seattle.
Yeah, they do. So that could be something.
We wouldn't know who they are, but
right, yeah.
Maybe they'd let us. They'd probably let us know. They wouldn't just put them in there randomly.
Right, yeah. I guess you could do something like that, but it's like it would have to be someone who's not in Arcadia Bay for it to be. So I don't know. I'm not sure what they'll do. I'm sure that whatever they do, though, we'll certainly like it.
Yeah, I'm very confident about that.
Barring pulling Walking Dead Season 3.
Yeah, probably won't happen.
Which I don't see happening.
No, yeah.
I'd be surprised by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, though, that's Life is Strange 2 trailer. So, again, that's coming out September 27th. So, I don't know, a little over a month we'll be talking about that. So, in the meantime, though, please write in at TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed at gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed or on Twitter at StoryEverPod. Yeah, let us know what you think about Life is Strange 2, and we'll see you then.
Later.